I just stuck a bull. This bull has been sounding gnarly, nasty. On my right, there's two bulls fighting. I can see them going, their bodies moving back and forth between the trees. And then all of a sudden I hear this. There's another bull right there. Walking through his aspens.
I shot him. Did you hear that?
No. Oh. We both just shot the same bull.
I shot him first.
He shot him first. Oh my gosh. What a heck of a pursuit, dude. All freaking day.
When your buddy calls you, says you got a buck down. And what does he got? A buck down.
Look what I found.
What a sweet coos, man. Opening day, heck yeah. Way to go, Steve.
Arizona Archery Club is a premier partner with Bowhunting AZ. When it comes to attention to detail and a fiery passion, Arizona Archery Club brings it all to the table. With all the latest bows and archery equipment, you can demo every single model in person free of charge in their multiple demo rooms. Walk through the process with an experienced bow tech and see which bow is right for you without the sales pressure. Their indoor archery range offers air-conditioned lanes where you can shoot out to 40 yards. Take this awesome opportunity to hone in your accuracy and technique. When you visit, be sure to mention that you're a listener to the Bowhunting AZ podcast. Let's all support local. Conquering your own dark mountain is no easy task. The backcountry requires grit and determination. Having quality supplements like Dark Mountain's Kodiak pre-workout, whey proteins, and nourishing recovery are all an essential part of your success in the journey to harvest from the land. Dark Mountain is a 2% for conservation company because they know that with a collective effort, we can cherish these resources for a long time to come. Use promo code BowhuntingAZ20 for 20% off your order at darkmountain.com. Remember, luck favors hard work. National Automotive Repair is a locally owned and operated auto repair shop in the heart of Phoenix, Arizona. Jake McLaughlin and his team operate their business with a foundation of honesty, quality, and integrity. From routine oil changes to larger mechanical repairs, National Automotive can solve your issues and have you back in operation. The shop is located right off of I-17 and Thunderbird off Sweetwater Avenue, or call Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 at 602-978-3278. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Bowhunting AZ podcast. Today we're out here in northern Phoenix, Arizona. We're at a buddy of mine, Jay Pyburn's house, and just hanging out. We're going to record a podcast tonight in his office / hunting room /
Man cave.
Though he's got a lot of cool stuff here on the wall for those that can see the video version of the podcast. Maybe I'll grab a couple snippets of his bear over here and some deer.
Freaking
and
huge.
stuff.
I was just asking about it.
Yeah.
Thing's huge.
Little guy.
He's just a little Winnie the Pooh. That's all. Your average bear. I've known Jay for probably 3 to 4 years now.
Yeah, somewhere around.
We've kind of done some work together and stuff in different industries that we do, but I've seen you around a lot on social media. Obviously, I follow you, and I've always noticed that you have really excelled and been very good at getting your kids in the outdoors. And as a fellow dad, that's something I've really admired, just because I've taken my kids out a few times. You, Jake and I here, we took them out for a mock bear hunt pretty much. But maybe twice is the most I've ever gotten them out. And I would like to get them out and involved more. And so I see guys like you that just really excel at it. And I'm like, all right, let me pick his brain a little bit more. Yeah. I know if I'm thinking that, there's probably other dads out there that are thinking that too and would really like to get more into that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like the evidence of that kid that was brought up in the outdoors, you know? Like my dad took me hunting when I was freaking in diapers, you know?
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, there's
Awesome to see you doing
there's
that.
pictures of that. We'll post those.
The diapers.
Pretty much, bro.
Pretty much.
Straight up. On a buffalo hunt.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I think you're holding a head in one or something. Or is that an elk?
We were, well,
I think it was an elk, the one
an
I'm thinking
elk,
of.
But then we were in a buffalo hunt up in Northern Plateau. And yeah, it's like a picture where me, my brother, and cousin of mine, we're just young little kids, and I'm over there with a diaper and stuff. It's
Gets
crazy.
cold up there too.
Yeah, we had our little jackets on, but
Boone was up there. Shannon drew that October tag on the Kaibab in 2019. So Boone was just a little over a year, and it was cold.
Okay.
You know? And so we brought him up there and stayed in a tent, and it gets cold.
So tell us your wife and kids' names, so when you're referring to people in stories, they know who you're
My
talking
beautiful wife, Shannon, high school sweethearts. So we've been married for 7 years as of last week. But
Congratulations.
I started dating. Yeah, thank you. I started dating Shannon when I was 15. My oldest son, Boone, is... now I'm going to be a bad dad. No, I'm just Boone will be 5 in July, and then Annie is about 2.5, and then Bear is just under a year, so he'll be a year in November.
Heck
Barrett,
yeah.
but call him Bear.
bear.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's my brother's name, so that's
Is
easy
it?
to remember. Yeah. Let's kind of talk a little bit about some of your hunting adventures. So how did your passion, obviously by your office here, you're damn passionate about hunting. How did that passion for big game, hunting big game kind of develop? And I say big game, but man, you've got a handful of turkeys here too. I don't know if you consider turkeys big game or not.
In Arizona, they are,
Yeah.
but some other places not so.
Yeah.
But I was really lucky. My uncle really poured into me a lot as a kid, and my uncle's a really great hunter. I was I'm low hanging fruit. I'm average. I'm a try harder for sure. But my uncle is a really great hunter, and I remember him taking me turkey hunting when we were kids, and when I'm too little to hunt, and being there with him and letting me drive his truck, and why would you let a kid too young to hunt drive? But I vividly remember my uncle letting me drive his H2 Hummer when I was a kid.
That's cool.
And I shot my first big game animal. I was 10.
Heck yeah.
Turkey here in Arizona, and with my uncle and my little brother, and I've been really lucky to be surrounded by a lot of really great influences. Whether Dar, my business partner, Dar was there with me, shooting my first deer. I think I was 12, and
Wow.
there's too many people to list. But
I didn't know you guys went that far back.
Yeah, I've
I
known
knew you guys
Dar.
had known a while, but that's been like a long while.
yeah, I've known Dar for my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you see him as more of a friend, or is he kind of a
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of a father figure,
like
a
an
mentor,
uncle maybe or something?
Yeah,
Uncle,
he's like an uncle to me. And his kids call me Uncle Pie and all that. And I forgot to watch his kids. I kind of jotted some notes down about that. But
Yep.
watch his kids grow up, and I think Dar is truly the gold standard for taking your kids outside, among others. My friend Russ Richardson is phenomenal, taking his kids on sheep hunts, and Russ and I bond a lot of because both of our his are a little older than mine, but we're kind of in that plight right now where it's really hard to take your kids out there, and we're, I remember texting Russ the first time I wanted to take Boone turkey hunting. I'm like, I just called Dar, and he said I was crazy. Am I crazy if I want to take Boone to California and go turkey hunting? And Russ was like, yeah, dude, you're crazy, but like you need to do it, and it's, it's just kind of one of those things like, yeah, man, you kind of have to just take it on the chin, but you just have to do it, and I don't think I'm an expert at all. I want to preface this whole thing. Like, I'm so average. I'm such an average hunter, but, and I think I do my best to involve the kids, and, Boone more so because he's the oldest and I've had the most time with him, but
Sure.
I've done things that I'm proud of out there with him, and we've done stuff. And then I look back at other things and think, yeah, I need to learn how to be better. And, I think that's a big part of it. It is hard,
Sure.
with kids that are this little. Yeah. But I think the whole thing is, you take them when they're this little, and it's not hard when they're 7.
When they're
because
getting older, yeah.
he's setting up his tripod by himself and he's finding deer, and he, you know what I mean? It just, I think you kind of go through that, the growing pains of it today, so tomorrow is easier for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or for him or her.
Yep. Tilt that mic there a little towards you.
Oh,
There,
you
bud.
want it towards me?
I just want to hear the tone of your sexy tone of your voice a little more. Share with us a memorable hunting experience that kind of stands out to you, and explain the significance of it.
There's just a lot, I would say without my kids involved, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was 2019. Maybe I could be wrong, but Parker Colburn had a sheep tag, and I've watched Parker grow up. You know, he's a good kid, good friend of mine, you know, great young man now. And Parker drew a sheep tag, and it was just me and Dar and Parker out there. And we found a ram, and I babysat that ram for a few hours while they went and looked some other places. And they ended up coming back, and Parker said that he wanted to shoot it with his bow. And I'm like, Dar, what is wrong with your kid?
Why'd you bring this kid, dude? Yeah.
What is this kid's deal? You know?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to do it with my bow. If I'm going to shoot this ram, I want to use my bow. It's not like it was a little ram. Like, it was a great ram, you know? And he's like, only with my bow. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm going to sit here and like eat a bag of Cheetos while you climb 1,000 vertical feet and, you know, have to walk down with cactus sticking out of every article of clothing you have. And I vividly remember sitting there with Dar, and I was watching Parker, and Dar was watching the ram. And then I see the ram come into my field of view with Parker in it, and I'm like a nutcase. Like, if I ever am hunting and shoot an animal, I don't, you know, like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like, are you upset? No, I'm not upset. That was awesome. Oh, you're just not that excited. You know, like, I just don't do it. But for other people, I'm like, Dar, the ram's in my, he's got to be 50 yards from him. He's right there. He's coming. And then, you know, Parker shoots this ram, and he, you know, falls over dead right there. And Dar and I are both sobbing. Like, we're legitimately, like, not like a tear in my eye, like this is a romance movie. Like, we were crying. And I'm just, you know, hugging Dar, and Dar's head comes up, you know, below my chest, and we're just like hugging each other, crying. And it was just like, it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen happen. It was just one of those things that, like, you know, what Parker did was so incredible. Watching a young kid who's grown up with, again, Dar is the gold standard of this. That's who should be, you know, giving advice to people on this stuff, not me. But watching Parker do that with his dad right there, and like seeing that emotion from Dar, watching his son, it's just like, I mean, you can't, it just gives you chills. Like, to watch a proud father watch his kid accomplish something that is, you know, truly the pinnacle of, you know, our hobby or lifestyle or whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's nothing like a bighorn sheep
with a bow.
Yeah, with a bow. I mean, it's just crazy. And just to watch this kid who I've known, you know, like, I've known Parker my whole life, or his whole life, and it was truly incredible. I would say too, you know, the first time I took Boone turkey hunting he was 3, and about the day before we left, he started getting a really bad cough. He started coughing so bad that he was throwing up, which is like such a Pyburn thing. I don't know how that gets passed down genetically, but I think it does. And I felt so horrible for him, and I was going to can the trip. You know, it's like, I don't want to I don't even want to go without him, because we've been planning this for months, and he's so excited, and he talks about it every day. You know, and that is something, like, my kids do talk about it every day. Even Annie's never even, you know, done it, and she's like, I shot a turkey. You know, where? Oh, probably in our backyard. Oh, okay, you know,
Sure, yeah.
but, you know, drive out with Boone for 10 hours, and that's a long ways for a kid. He wouldn't sleep the whole time. He just kept saying, like, Dad, we're not on a hunting road yet. We're on the highway. We need to be on a hunting road. I'm like, dude, you should close your eyes, because maybe when you wake up, we'll be on a hunting road.
Go to sleep, kid. Yeah.
And, you know, we get there and we roost birds. You know, got there late afternoon because we left at 3 a.m. and roost some birds and get in the next morning. And that's like, you know, lesson number 1 that I learned from taking a kid, like, on a serious hunting trip. That was the first, like, there's no going home hunting trip. Like, we're not going to go, you know, to 21 and shoot a javelina and we could be home in 45 minutes. Like, we're going.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's coughing, but he's okay. Like, he's not sick. He just has this nasty cough. But, like, you know, you can tell when a kid is sick, and he was not sick. And, you know, we roost these birds, and he thinks it's so cool, you know, and he's using his little turkey call on other birds, not the ones we're going to hunt. They're gobbling, and, you know, like, he's lighting up, just beaming with joy. And that next morning, you know, I learned how to turkey hunt from my uncle Jay, who like you're waking up at 3:00 in the morning. Like there's no such thing as like you're not turkey hunting if you're not waking up at 3. And it's like we're up at 3:15 or whatever, and feed Boone a Pop-Tart.
15 minutes late there, but
Yeah, I know. Go on. And we get within about 100 yards, which was number 2 that I learned. You don't need to wake up at 3:15 with a 3-year-old, and you probably should not get within 100 yards of a roosted gobbler with a 3-year-old.
at 3:15 in the morning.
2 hours, but hour. You're sitting there and it's freezing cold, and Boone was a trooper. And he's sitting there and, I love you, Dad. Oh, I love you too. Happy birthday. This is my birthday. We go every year on my birthday.
Oh, nice.
That's
and
awesome.
That's cool.
he coughs, sometime later he coughs. And he just kept looking at me. He's like, I'm sorry. Because I stressed everything to him. Hey, you got to be quiet. And I said, hey, buddy, you don't need to be sorry for coughing. Just try your best to be quiet, but you're not going to get in trouble for coughing. If you have to cough, you can cough. Okay. Now he's just coughing, and I'm like, sitting there like, what am I going to do? And, however long, I don't know how long it was, but it has a pretty good cough come out. And, next thing is, I'm like, oh, nice. Like they didn't know where we were, 10 minutes ago. Now they do. And, he's like, did you hear that? Yeah, did I hear it? And, coughs again, however long later, and a bird hammers again. And now I'm sitting here like, okay, what should I do? We can't move. It's, we're starting to get to the point where we probably should have just showed up at this time, but we've been here for 45 minutes already. And I'm like, we're just going to sit here. Yep. And he coughs, and I'm like, I'm going to start calling every time he coughs. I don't know if that's a good idea. It ended up not being a good idea. So I start calling. Now they're, like 4 gobblers are just going crazy. Yeah. Every time, and I'm trying to call loud, which I don't think that you should probably be doing that, at first light type of stuff. And I'm like, this is against everything I know, but I'm just going to keep doing it because, and the birds are gobbling and the Boone's just having a ball. So it's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care if I kill it. I don't care.
He's having fun. It doesn't matter.
So getting them all jacked up in the trees, and then Boone's like, can I try? And I have a little push call for him. So
there you go.
Like he does it and they're gobbling. I'm like, okay, like this is whatever. So we're just going to do this today, And the birds end up flying down like 15 minutes too early. It was too early to shoot them. You could barely make out their silhouettes. And, Boone is sitting next to me like, Daddy, you got to shoot them. They're going to go. You better shoot them. And I really wanted to get everything on video. Like my first time taking Boone to a ranch, I used to drive out there when I was a kid. My uncle used to take me there. The owner is just a dear, dear friend of mine, and I'm like, I want this on video. So it finally gets light enough to video as, light enough to shoot around the same time. And the birds lose interest of beating up plastic. And I'm just saying, Boone, just sit tight. We're gonna move around. We're gonna get in front of these birds, and we're gonna kill these birds in 20 minutes. And start walking away. And Boone's like, Dad, no, Dad, you said we might not get another chance, Dad. And Boone just goes, yow, 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 with his mouth, And like the bird turns around and just hammers. And he takes like 5 steps. Oh yeah, dude, takes like 5 steps toward me. And Boone's like, you better shoot him. And I was like, you're right, man. I better shoot him. Like how can you not? And like we got it on video, but it's not like it's not what I wanted. I wanted to have him, But then I remember, I'm still learning, right? I don't have this all figured out with kids. And we finish and there, we walk up to the bird and we have our moment. And I said, hey, Boone, only Dad calls. Okay. When we're out here, only Dad calls. And my friend Craig, who's, great mentor of mine, he taught me a lot. I've hunted with him for a long time since I was a little kid. And he's like, Jay, the birds were walking away. He was telling you to call. Yeah. He didn't think you were doing a good enough job. Like, how can you critique him for that? And I was like, oh.
Dang it, yeah.
Yeah, no, all right, dude. Well, just, just ask me next time.
Now he's going to hold that against you when he gets older, too, probably.
Boone's like, I don't know, Dad, I want to know.
I know, he is. He's like, I'm undefeated. He's like Conor McGregor over there. He called in a bird for my little brother this year.
Oh, wow.
With an actual... like a slate
like a
call.
Slate?
Really? Yeah, not a little push call.
That's awesome.
And he's just happy, he's like,
cool.
I called that bird in.
Yeah.
And he like tells his teacher at school. She's like, these kids.
What's with this Pyburn kid?
Crazy people.
Dude, that's an epic memory.
But that was like as good of a morning I've ever had, and like that's that bird right there, you know, and it's
Okay.
like I would throw away my big bull that I killed in Unit 10. I'd throw those antlers away before I, you know, it was just one of those things. Like it was so full circle. I killed birds there when I was a teenager, and you know, now my little guy, and he adores Craig, who owns that land, and you know, he talking, you know, Boone, who's your best friend? Craig. What the heck, man? Craig's your best friend? What am I?
You're just dad.
Yeah, you know, but like it's just is one of those things. Like it's just so special, and like the tradition of that. Like I remember being a kid sitting in the back of his Kubota or whatever he had. You know, it's always a diesel because they're cattle ranchers, and like going up winding roads, about to fall out of the back of it with my little brother. You know, like terrified, and it's like, you know, God, that guy now is pouring all this stuff into my kid, and my kid's obsessed with him, and it just is. It's just a special. You know, it's just a cool thing.
Heck yeah. Absolutely, man. How has the hunting impacted your personal growth, and then how you approach life and parenting?
Yeah, I just think it's cool, you know, to see your kids passionate about anything. But I think a lot of kids like to be interested in what their parents like. I think it's like a naturally drawn thing for them. You know, it's why my kids run around with Georgia Bulldog costumes on all fall and all that. But, you know, my kids talk about, you know, turkey hunting mainly, but, you know, whatever it is, every day, you know, and, Annie, nothing moves in my backyard without, you know, Annie being on it. You know, she's just a little hawk. And let me see where I'm at here, Stephen. I took some notes down for your questions.
Yeah, you're good, buddy.
You know, but just, you know, playing with their bow and arrows and, you know, making a hunting blind out of the little wooden house in the backyard and shooting turkey decoys and stuff. You know, it's just like the tradition of it, and the everyday, you know, cooking the buffalo. Boone, you know, I can't cook without Boone in there because he's my special helper. You know, we're proud of this meal because it's buffalo, and we hunted that, and you know, all that. And you know, like I've watched my little brother, he's always been a great kid, but you know, Christian, he's 16, works at Marsupial Gear, is like the boss, you know, runs that place. But I've watched, you know, the day to day and the confidence that being a hunter, and, you know, maybe it partially is with him being surrounded by, you know, really great people like Jimmy at Marsupial Gear, but the way that that's been able to kind of mold him into from a timid boy to, you know, a confident young man who's shot a couple coos deer. And, you know, me and Jimmy we took Christian and Boone last year to New Mexico, and we went antelope hunting, and we saw a buck from the truck, and me and Jimmy ran out there, and I'm like, Christian, stay with Boone, you know. So Christian's getting Boone set up with his tripod. You know, I don't need to tell him now because now he knows. You know, before it'd be like, can you please set up this tripod? Okay, well, can you also please put the binoculars on it? I didn't know we had to, you know. But, you know, Christian's getting Boone all set up, and I'm about to shoot this dorky looking buck that has like a one prong covering his eye. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing. And you know, Jimmy's like, I'm not going to shoot that one. I'm going to shoot the other one. And get down. I'm about to shoot this buck, and on the radio I hear my little brother. He's like, "Hey Jay, can you hear me?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know, what's up? Is Boone okay? And he's like, "Don't shoot that buck. Look to the west." And I'm like, "Look to the west? You don't even know what way west. How do you know where west is?" You know, like
you're already looking west, right? Yeah.
I'm like, I can't see anything. And he's like, you need to get on top of that little hill right there, and you'll look down in the west, and that's where the big buck is. And there's another buck with him that's about the same size. And I like look at Jimmy, and I'm like, there's no way that, like, my brother is an idiot. You know, like, there's no way. And we, like, pop up, and I'm like, oh, gosh, dude, like, you're right. They're right there. And we shoot them both. And, like, Christian brings Boone over, and he's like, I was right. And I was like, yeah, dude, that was awesome, man. Like, I would have shot that little goobery-looking deer, you know. It's just, you know, it's just watching kids grow up, you know, and it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, he's much better off for that. You know,
Well, he's got that confidence kind of instilled in him now.
Yeah.
And then now he's able to make like a shot call like that. And be
Yeah.
like, no, like, hey, look at this over here, and
Yeah.
be confident in that. Probably
Yeah,
a little
around
nerve-wracking
adults,
telling your,
you know,
your
your big
older
brother and your
his-
boss.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know?
respect, yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think that's important, whether it's hunting, you know, for me, it was football was a huge thing for me growing up. And that's why, you know, I think I like turkey hunting so much because that did not interfere with football. You know, you don't get to be a diehard deer hunter and play football in
Right,
high school or
right.
college. It just does not work because
elk,
you're playing
whatever,
football, you know. And I had a really great high school football coach, Jeff Cortez, one of the best men I've ever known. Like anytime anything hard is going on, I can hear his voice like, control the controllables, you know. You cannot control officiating. You cannot control weather.
Right.
You cannot control fans. You can't control any of that stuff. You can't control whether a deer lives in a nasty hole or not, but you can control your attitude and your effort. And, you know, you going to do something hard, generally you're doing something that's physically exerting you when you're hunting. And like, I think that a lot of times, and again, I'm not coming at this from a position of superiority at all. I think everyone should be learning every day. If you don't feel like you should be learning anymore, you're probably really full of yourself.
Right.
But like, you can control your attitude and your effort, and the cards rarely fall in your favor. I feel like, at least for me, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can throw a fit and you can be sour and all that stuff, or you can just say, hey man, like, it is what it is. Are we going to do this or not? Like, I'm going to go do it.
Move
you
on,
might
keep
beat me
going,
there. Yeah, sure. But I'll get there and I'll have a great attitude about it. And if we don't shoot a deer up there, hey man, you know, we hiked our butts off and it was terrible. But you know, a week later we'll be like, hey, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like I love hunting with Daniel. Willett is one of my best friends
Yep.
in the universe. And like, me and Daniel have done some really stupid things together. Like the day I killed that bear was terrible, man. It was the worst day physically. It was hard. And, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, dude, wasn't that awesome when you were throwing up on the side of a mountain and we ran out of water and had 4 more miles to go and, you know, almost died 11 times and like you know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like it's easy to have a good attitude when everything's going your way. But, you know, I think that's where like the character, whatever you want to say, shows when
Times are tough.
when times are tough and it's not going your way, and it rarely does. So, you know, when you get punched, are you going to roll over, or are you going to just say, okay, well, I can punch too, you know?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to sound like David Goggins over here by any means, but I just think a lot of people need an attitude check with a lot of stuff. And, you know, it's just easy to get down and get in a bad place. But, you know, for me, I've always just found it easy not to get there because it's just not an option, you know, like, well, it stunk, but you know, we can just keep going.
Yep.
So
100%. How have you, well, let me see. Discuss some of the lessons that you've learned from hunting that you aim to pass on to your children. Like, obviously you kind of just touched on like the positive mentality of things, right? Keeping like not allowing yourself to get to that place where you're like, oh, this sucks and all that stuff. But like, what else have you seen that you've extracted from the outdoors and your personal life and something that you look forward to handing down to your kids?
yeah, I think it would kind of coincide with kind of what we just touched on. So, you know, apologize for the redundancy, but I just think we kind of live in a world now where, you know, toughness is disparaged and, you know, strength, especially from males, is ridiculed. And, you know, we make up terms for it, you know, toxic masculinity or this. And we almost teach boys that they don't have to be tough, which, you know, I've had conversations with my wife about it because I don't think you could understand what it's like being a boy if you're not a boy, you know, which CNN's probably going to air if anyone. You know,
But
I
in
have
same
protesters
retrospect, I mean,
in
you
front
don't
of
know
my
what it's
house.
like being a woman.
No,
you know what I mean? It's
for
the
sure.
same
No,
thing.
absolutely.
You
No,
know?
but I mean, like, I think it's really important as a boy or a man that you need to be tough.
To be,
and, you know, mentally tough as well. But
100%.
like, I think that it's really paramount, you know, to have that mental and physical toughness. That does not mean that you cannot cry. Like, I'm a crier. The wrong song comes, or the right song at the wrong time, baby. You know, I'll cry. And like, I don't think that those things have to be exclusive with each other. Like, you can be, I've told everyone, I'm so happy that I'm a dad in this generation today. Like, where my dad and my dad's dad, like those were
Tough as nails.
and that was like the real last generation of people that were raised by like true blue collar tough men. Like
Right.
I worked at the coal mine all day, you know, like you need to toughen up and you
out on
need
the
to,
ranch or
whatever
whatever,
it
yeah.
was. Like those were tough men.
Yeah.
Like Boone is not going to look back and be like, my dad was so tough the way he sold real estate. It was hard, but like I'm lucky to be here today where like we're not taught, oh, you can't cry. Like I want my son to know how proud I am of him. And I want my daughter to know how much I value her and that she is perfect the way she is. And that, treating her any way but perfect, you'll get thumped by her dad. Like, I think it's really important to like instill that, in your children. But, society is making that really difficult today with the way that things are going. And it's okay to be a boy and it's okay to be tough and it's okay to be hard nosed and go outside and scrape your elbows and your knees. Like, that's good. We live in such an indoor world now that, having your kids go, out on a dove hunt or whatever it may be. Like most kids are not doing anything like that. They're watching Bluey
Not
on
at all, yeah.
television, or whatever. And not to say there's not a time and a place for that. Actually, the only time that I ever let Boone have we don't have an iPad. We don't have little phone things. We have what we called our Blue TV, and it is like an educational little, it's like, what was that company when we were kids? It was a frog.
Oh, Leapfrog.
Leapfrog.
Like that,
Yeah, it's like a modernized thing like that.
Yep.
So like if we're gonna go in the car for 10 hours, I don't expect my kid to,
Sure.
be St. Christopher and just sit there and stare out the window. Like, sure, dude, play your Blue TV. You can. I'll bring the charger and I'll bring a DVD player and let them watch.
Right.
Whatever it is, but. We just our whole society is controlled by inside now, and
It's completely different, man.
Yeah, there's a time for all that, but like we didn't have. When I was a kid, me and my brother would go
Bike riding and all that.
Yeah,
dude.
play basketball in the asphalt out front, and throw rocks at each other. Whatever. Like kids just don't do stuff like that anymore. So I think we have to be purposeful, with our interactions with the outdoors and show them like, yeah, hey. Flip this rock over, man. Oh, there's a centipede. Oh, it's gross. But even that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's some sort of involvement with not a couch and an iPad.
Yep. Absolutely. About what age did you start involving your children in the outdoor activities and hunting?
So like fishing and, like dove hunting or, quail hunting, stuff like that, pretty young. Cause I would just hike with them on my back and they'd fall asleep and I'd be like, wake up, I'm about to shoot a quail. I want you to see this. Look, but like we took Boone on the kaibab when he was 1, like I was talking about earlier.
Yep.
And that's, again, I think I'm a cheap one for that. And you probably ought to be talking to Russ Richardson, who has no safety valve, but like my mom came up, who's in there now, my sister who's in there now, they came up and it was really cold. Mm-hmm. And my mom somehow got a room for her and the baby every night, right, for Boone at the Jacob Lake. Deal.
Yep.
Every night they're like, we're sold out. And my mom is, neurotic of a human. And she's like, okay, well, I'll come back in 10 minutes. And like they gave her room every night, but she had to check out every time because it'd say someone was booked for the next day.
Yeah.
She got it every day, you know.
It's a trip how they do that too.
Yeah. I mean, good for them. But it was Boone would not sleep outside, which actually really for me was one less thing that I had to worry about, and so we'd hunt and he'd be in camp with my mom and my little brother and sister and all that. And then at night they'd go stay in that deal. But, he wasn't really hunting with us, but I mean, the grip and grin pictures I have of his little, he's still a baby. He's still got the fat face and the, the puffy, like they just don't.
Yeah.
But even he still got to experience that. I mean, that's something like he'll look at a photo back then and see like, oh, I was out there with Dad, and he shot that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He remembers it differently. He seems to think he shot that.
Well, he might have shot that turkey too. I don't know.
I remember Dad holding the rifle for me and my finger was on the trigger.
We were at Cabela's, right? It was shortly after that. We're at Cabela's and, we used to fish at Paloma Park all the time. And Boone's caught dozens of fish there
Yeah.
with his little Paw Patrol, food. And he's caught some too. But we were at Cabela's picking out power bait because, we figured out they bit yellow power bait. And Boone is looking at all the power bait just like a grown-up would. He's just like perusing through it. And the old guy who works at Cabela's is like, "You looking for some bait?" And Boone's like, "No, thanks." And, the guy's like, "What are you getting?" And he's like, "Oh, we need the yellow one." And he's like, kind of being standout. He's like, I'm like, "Dang, man, like, is that how I talk to people? That's not good. Like, we're starting bad habits." And the guy's like, "You like to fish?" And he's like, "I like hunting more." And the guy's like, "Oh, really? What do you like to hunt?" And he goes, "I shot a buck." He's just, "I shot a buck." And I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh, I guess he did." And the guy's like, "What kind of buck was it? Was it a mule deer?" "It was a big deer." And he's like, "Okay." And Boone just says, "Have a good one. Have a good one." And I was like, I guess it's time for you to go, man. Like,
You got a celebrity there, man. Jeez.
like, my gosh, dude, what are you doing? That's not me. I would have talked to the guy for 3 hours. That's definitely from my wife. Like, let's get out of here.
Yeah, he's really big, but nothing.
I took about the same age. We were kind of hunting. We were hunting one of the metro units by Lake Pleasant.
Oh yeah.
And Boone was asleep for a lot of the day, and there were pigs everywhere where we were. And I was with my friend Dylan, and we had probably walked 4 or 5 miles, and we were walking back to the truck. I was done. I was like, "This sucks," And Boone needed to go. We needed to go to dinner or whatever it was. So we needed to leave. So I'm walking back, and I'm like, "There's 2 pigs right there." Boone was at that age. He couldn't have been 2, where every time he would see an animal, whether it was a coyote or a horse or a burro, he'd be like, "Dad, there's a burro right there. Do you see it?" And so I had to show it to him first. So if I showed him the animal, he would not scream. He would just be like, "Oh, okay." So I turned him sideways, and I'm like, "Boone, do you see those pigs right now?" "Yes." Like, "You see both of them, right? You see that there's 2 of them." "I see them." I'm like, "Okay, we're going to go shoot them." So, so I'm like jogging with him on the baby backpack carrier, and they walk behind a mesquite. They step out. I had just sold my bow because I missed a giant deer with it. So I had Daniel Willett's bow.
That's something we usually joke
Oh,
about.
yeah. No, it's not a joke to me because I just do it. I'm like, I'm not shooting this bow ever again.
It's bad luck. Get
Yeah.
rid of it.
No, so I'm shooting Daniel's Matthews V3, and which me and Daniel are completely interchangeable. I can shoot it. I don't know why. He's the only person in the world. I can
That's
grab
me
his
and him.
bow. Yeah.
That's-
I can grab his bow, and I shot that deer with Daniel's bow.
Oh, nice.
It's just, that was like 2 weeks after I missed, this pig story. But so this
So you
pig
bought
comes,
Daniel's bow.
steps out, and I'm at full draw. And as soon as the pig steps out, Boone's like, "I see a big daddy javelina." Like they start running everywhere. And I was like, "Boone, shut up, man." And he's like, "You see him? You missed him. You missed him. You missed." I'm like, "Buddy, I didn't even shoot." And he's like, "You missed him, Dad. That was your chance." And I'm like, "What? That was my chance. What is this?" Like, what are
That's awesome.
you talking about?
So you've got your own personal sports commentator.
Oh,
on
yeah.
at all times.
Yeah, I mean, just screaming at the top of his lungs, and that's Annie too. Annie does the same thing. Like, I'll shoot a dove, and she'll walk over and go, "Good morning, good morning." Every time she picks one up, they're just hysterical.
Oh man, that's awesome.
How have you kind of conquered some of the mental hurdles of getting your kids in the outdoors? So like, what hunts do you take them on versus like deciding what hunts do you not take them on?
Like obviously a bear.
Yeah,
but
Down in the canyon.
I'm gonna
you know?
assume they weren't on that bear hunt probably.
No, they weren't alive. No, I mean, and that's like I see, like my friend Daniel drowned. I think he's taken his daughter Taurine bear hunting, and Daniel's. I'll never say this again. He's better at bear hunting than me. I'm horrible at bear hunting.
Don't worry, Daniel. We'll put that on repeat.
Yeah.
We'll make that one of our sound bites on this.
I commend you, and I look up to people that will go take their kids on like extreme hunts.
Yeah.
Where like I've taken Boone on deer hunts in Unit 21, but I think the big thing is like you're not going to be able to hunt every animal that you find. And I feel like you can go a lot more places as long. And again, there are people that would completely shatter and disprove that statement.
Sure.
And I respect those people tremendously. I am a worrywart. You could break my arm in 100 different places, and I'd rather you do that than my kid get, any sort of hurt.
Right.
I want my kids to know what it's like to get hurt, but I don't ever want my kids to be injured and have something happen to them. So, it's just kind of that deal. Like, I'm not going to take my kid bear hunting. I wanted to take Boone on my buffalo hunt, and Jimmy talked me out of it. He's like, Jay, it's going to be like 5 degrees. And, I got up there and I'm like, oh, thank God I listened to Jimmy. But like, I kind of have that like dumb romanticism about it where it's like, like we can do that.
Yeah.
Why could we not do that? Antelope hunting, I think is great for kids. At least we're, in New Mexico where, we've been hunting on a private ranch, and it's like, that's a great thing to take a kid to do. Turkey hunting is the best thing to take a kid to do because it's so interactive and it's so easy to mentally stay in it, where like you get that instant gobble. You make a noise, you hear that gobble, that's exciting. I don't care if you like hunting or not, that's really an exciting deal where, like javelina hunting to some degree is, I think, perfect for kids. I think it's not fun when you're trying to sit there and find them. But like once you find them, I think that's awesome for kids. I have yet to shoot a javelina with a kid with me. Because
you got a sports commentator there. You missed your shot.
But like I took Boone and Annie this year. We went down during archery deer season and archery javelina season down south, and my friend Newman came and brought his 2 kids, and like you look over and there's just like donut powder everywhere. Like we're over there glassing and there's just like everyone just is covered in donut and apple juice, and like then they find the beef jerky and they're like, they want beef jerky, They just eat, So it's like, I don't know. I think that I'd like to, again, I'm still learning. I don't think I'm better at hunting than anybody, certainly. I think I'm plain Jane average, but, I think that I would like to continue to do that, but I think it's hard, like, when you're 4, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing taking a 7-year-old, and doing stuff like, dude, Annie's 2. I can't take her on a, I just can't go do that.
Yeah.
She just got out of her diaper,
Right.
So, I mean, and you can, and people do, and I respect the devil out of the people that are able to like do the Russ Richardson taking your kid to the Arizona Strip. I think you're crazy, and I love it. You know what I mean? In a good way. Like I respect that. I mean, probably not taking my kid if I draw a, Unit 10 early archery elk tag again. But if Boone wants to go on my brother's youth hunt, and I know we're not going to hunt the nastiest canyons known to man, like sure, let's go.
Yeah.
The one thing too is like so this year when we were in California, I shot a bird on opening morning, and that afternoon we came home and we ate breakfast, and we had 3 more people with tags, and the owner has granddaughters that I've watched them grow up, and called in birds for them to shoot, and it's like I've known them their whole lives, and one of them was going to stay back, and they were like building little horse stable toys, and she's like, Boone, do you want to stay back while the boys go hunting? And he was like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, Boone, are you sure? Mm-hmm. Like, because I'm going to get in the truck and I'm going to not be here. Like, I trust those people totally. Yeah. Boone, you can hang out with them, but I will be gone and my phone will not work. And he's like, yeah, no, I want to stay. Oh, okay. So, we get in the truck, we're pulling out the driveway. I see Boone like running Mach 5, screaming, wait, wearing his pajamas still, and he's like, I want to come. Yeah. And I'm like, I just looked at Craig, my buddy. I said, Craig, you guys just go and we'll roost birds here at the house, quote, air quotes if you can't see, but like, there's no birds to roost at the house. But, I drove out here for 10 hours, the day my kids were born, they became the number one priority with everything that I do. Did I want to go out there and call a bird in for my brother and my friends? 100% that's where I wanted to be. Yeah. But it's like, I think, and again, you can like get into semantics. You should have told your kid you had one choice. And, I just don't think hunting's the time to do that because we want this to be a fun deal for them. Right. So like, I stayed home. I drove 10 hours out, and on, opening day evening, I sat at the cabin and air quote roosted birds with Boone and had a great time. would I have preferred to have been out there with everybody else? 100%. But like, you know, like it's just one of those things. I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, hey Boone, I tolerate that and I want you to do that next time. I told him, hey buddy, next time you do this, I'm gone, baby. Like I'm going. So you better just get ready to come with me.
Yeah.
But like, how can I get, and you know, Craig, who's a great role model of mine, the guy who owns that ranch, he just says, Jay, how can you be mad? He wanted to go hunting.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, he's 4. He changed his mind, you know? Yeah. Like, okay. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, I wish you wouldn't have done that. But yeah, I want to go hunting too. So I resonate with that. I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah, I think it's somebody put it really. I can't remember where I heard it, but someone basically said, "Oh, I remember. It was a gentleman I met in Colorado, and he talked about how his dad really poured into him once he was around and old enough to hunt and stuff. And he just said, you know, my dad basically like died to self. Like it was like he hunted for him. Like he would go out on his own. I remember him going to elk camp and killing all these big bulls in Colorado. They were in northern Colorado, and he's like, I remember." After that, like my dad really didn't do that anymore. It was always about like our hunts and like things that we would do. And he was like, it basically like the guy died to himself. Basically, he was this guy that would go out and hunt solo and didn't do that any longer now because he had the kids and it was all about the kids' adventures now.
Yeah.
And so
That was pretty much exactly how my dad was. I mean,
pops. Yeah,
he used to go archery hunting, elk hunting all the time. Use a bow. I mean, that was all he did was archery until he had me and my brother and picked up a rifle. That was pretty much it, you know.
I think that's like the natural, not to diminish either one of those, you know, examples that you guys gave, but I feel like that's just kind of the natural deal when you have people that you care about that are coming up. And like my uncle, I don't think I've ever seen him since I have legally been able to hunt. I don't know that I've ever seen my uncle shoot a turkey, and I've gone turkey hunting with him every year since I was 10, maybe minus 4 years, you know, like I don't know that I've seen him, you know, and not that he gets just excitement out of you know, watching me do it or watching my brother or everybody else there, and he's just it's selfless, you know, to like no, I'd rather watch you guys all do it, which like I totally understand that now. Yeah, if I could have Boone punch a tag here, I probably wouldn't care, you know, like you do it, you get it, you know.
Yep, absolutely, man. How have you kind of taught Boone or maybe not so much Annie, but Boone or Annie, how have you taught the kids like certain skills such as patience, resilience, kind of like maybe respect for nature through hunting?
It's hard. Like, I mean, that's just like a, you know, teaching a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or a 2-year-old patience. It's like, you know, grinding your teeth on
to sit still. It's like freezing
pavement.
outside.
Yeah. I mean, so, I mean, Boone can...
Maybe your brother, too. You can throw your brother in there
so I would say
cause...
my brother, Christian, would be a good example with that. And I always tell Christian, and I tell my uncle all the time, I'm like, man, I'm so ashamed of myself because I sound like you. I can hear you saying it to me, and I can, like, you know, see myself at 15, like, rolling my eyes, like, okay, idiot. You know, and now I hear the way I talk to my little brother, and I'm like, God, he's probably over there rolling his eyes saying, shut up, you idiot, you know. But, you know, Christian has really, Christian, he's a lot quieter than I am too, so it's a lot easier for him to, like, stay still and quiet. Like, he's not going to talk while he's doing it, and patient. Like, he'll sit there and glass. I do love hunting with my little brother. It's one of my favorite people to be with because he won't say a word. Like, you'll be sitting there glassing for deer, and it'll be just us, and we'll be like, you know, this far from each other. And he'll, you know, like, I'll just glass, you know, a couple hours, whatever. I won't say anything. And he'll like stand up and he'll walk over and be like, I checked this canyon. I didn't see anything. And I'm like, oh, cool, man. Like, that's good. You know, do it a couple more times, you know. But like, he's really easy. My sister Ivory has had one really difficult coos deer hunt 2 years ago. It was the first time I've ever been with anybody on a rifle tag in that unit she was in and not had a chance to even like shoot a spike. I mean, we saw 2 deer in 5 days.
Jeez.
She was tough as heck. I mean, we've never not filled a tag in that unit in my whole life. And it just happened to be my, you know, baby sister who I had to beg and plead to go out and do it. You know, but, you know, it's just one of those things. I feel like with the younger kids too, it's food. You know, everything is, you want to be patient, you know, You make that little noise that the wrapper of a gummy bear makes from your inside your pocket, and
Or the
like they're
granola
patient.
bar wrapper, you know?
Yeah, that'll get it every time. But I still haven't figured that one out. I think we need to call Dar on that.
Probably I would just venture to say, like you said, food. Have lots of snacks on hand. Because I don't know about your kids, but my kids are almost always munching on something.
Yeah.
Always. And so whether it's like you said, beef jerky, whether you got a couple gummy bears in your pocket or something like that, just try and keep them at least occupied will probably extend that patience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's just like little creature comforts too that, maybe doesn't help with patience, but just like comfortability, because I mean, that is, I've, taken Boone out, like there's, I remember when he was really little, like there's no toilet. You need to hold on to my hitch and you need to try to go to the bathroom. No, like, okay, well then you're going to go in your pants, man.
Piss your pants.
Like, or I can put a diaper on you, but you're too big, But, Boone has a little stuffed dog that looks just like my short hair pointer. Oh. I bought it for him before he was born. That was like his first little toy. And I was like, when he got old enough to talk, I said, oh, this is your toy Hank, and you have your dog Hank. And he's like, no, this is Hank-Ree. So that's Hank-Ree. And Hank-Ree goes everywhere with us. Yep. Hank-Ree goes to antelope hunting in New Mexico. Hank-Ree goes to California turkey hunting. Hank-Ree goes everywhere. And we actually, the first time we went out to California, because Boone he's big. He's not like a little kid. Like I don't know that you look at Boone and think he's 4. Like he's a tall, big boy, and he talks a lot when he opens up. And the owner of the ranch, he's like, I was starting to get frustrated with your kid because he was just kind of talking, and he's asking good questions, but I'm telling him like, we're trying to roost birds, stop talking. And I'm like, I know, Craig. And then he said, well, it all made sense. So like, he's 3, and we came back, and like you forget he's 3 because he talks about hunting and he engages in conversation with you, but he goes back to camp and he puts on his footy pajamas and he has his special dog that he has to have, and like, oh my God, he's a baby. You know what I mean? So I really, and I don't have a favorite kid. I've just done the most with Boone because he's he's the oldest. Sure. But like I'm so proud of where he's come and how he acts, and obviously you're always going to have a little hiccup or tirade or whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like they're 4, man. Like they're little people figuring out how to use their emotions. But I just couldn't be prouder of. I mean, a few months ago, he's sitting on my lap in the Ranger, and his feet are touching my ankles while we're sitting on the Ranger. Which that sounds so stupid. Like why would that even be memorable? But I remember, like, what is touching the top of my boot? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Boone's foot. Like, and then it was just like, when did my kid get so big? Like, when did all this stuff happen? Like last year, he's like cradled in my arms. He's a baby. Like, dude, you're 3. You're a baby still. Like he's not a baby. And it just was like, wow, in 1 year, like he got so big, and like, thank God I was paying attention this year, because I could have, like, it went by so fast I could have missed it, and it just,
right.
I get emotional about it. Like, gosh, man, next year? He's not even want to sit on the same tree with me. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to want to sit on my lap when I shoot a bird next year. He's going to be too big. Yeah. It's sad, Sure. And then Annie's chomping at the bit, because I've told Annie, when you're 3, you can go. So I don't know what I signed myself up for next year with both of them, but like, and Annie's my little warrior princess. Like, I talk all this about Boone. Like, Annie's my tough kid for sure. Like, she is she is insane, and I'm terrified to see, what happens
what's gonna
with that.
come,
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm standing on the train tracks and I don't know what's gonna happen here.
She's playing chicken with the train coming down the track. Yeah,
but like 6 pairs of pants. I took Boone out turkey hunting. It was freezing this year. My buddy's like, "Are you gonna take him out?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude. I didn't drive out here for 10 hours to leave him at camp." And pajamas, footy pajamas, sweatpants, jeans. Rain pants, layers on layer, like stuff you never, like if you're sitting out there at 3:30, we'll be fine. Like it could be 30 degrees and you could sit there for, 2 hours and you would be fine. You might be uncomfortable, but like, I don't want to play that game with my kid when it's 25 degrees and wet outside and have you get sick and have something
3-year-old
bad.
kid.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Like that's torture.
Yeah.
You know, like
and that kid's not going to enjoy it. You know what I mean, that's the whole point of
I
it.
know. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, that was the one thing I remember I hated was it was when we were elk hunting, it was late season. So it's already, November 27th or something like that, 26th. And we're up there in the north, 6A, and there's snow on the ground. And we're sitting there in the midday because there was like nothing else to do. It was all dead quiet, obviously in late season. But we're just walking around, and I was just like, I'm so tired. I'm tired. And I'm like probably 6 years old, But I remember sitting down, and I just got so cold and freezing. I was telling my dad, I was like, I'm freezing. And I'm over here shaking, and he's over there trying to warm me up. And I was like, I don't like this, It's like, so, I mean, some things too, man. You got to make it enjoyable for the kid.
Yeah, you freeze them out. They're going to be like, I don't want to go do that.
I don't want to go back and do this
ever
crap.
again.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Is that why I have such a hard time getting you out of bed in the morning when it's cold out and you're like, I'm not getting out of bed? He's having flashbacks over here to this tree.
A perfectly warm bed. I'm not getting out of that thing, bro.
Video of that Labrador where he like goes back in his dream and they're like storming the beaches of Normandy.
Right. He's
up.
like, ah.
Yeah.
I was telling him, you have to get one of those like slap noses things or whatever, those incense.
The
smelling
salts.
Yeah.
The smelling salts.
Damn, that'll wake you up.
They used to just carry those around when I like in high school. They'd be like, who wants smelling salts? And it's like, you guys are on Quaaludes.
Dude.
How has the whole hunting together with your kids and stuff strengthened the bond between you guys? Like, what outside of just obviously Boone being like, Dad, I want to go with you, probably 24/7 now. Like, what other benefits have you seen that from strengthening the relationship with your kids?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things too. Just
That's gonna come with time too, man. Like, like for me, that's a huge thing because like growing up, that was a big thing that my parents, my dad did with me, and so like now it's still something that we can go back to and enjoy and share with each other. So I mean, obviously you're doing this now, and they might not realize it as much, but when they get older, that's gonna be huge, man.
Yeah.
They're gonna really appreciate that.
I think too, like even the struggles, I think more so the struggles kind of bring, I mean, there's nothing that can bring a father and son more together, like you're together, like it or not. But, I think the big thing, generally kids take away the good, I think. At least I'd like to think that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
You have a good day and then you get in trouble later. Like, they probably remember the good day, not the trouble. But I think like it's important for us as the people fostering, these moments to continually be learning how to get better. And like I have said, like I can't hunt turkeys how I was taught by my uncle how to hunt turkeys, or how I, hunt with Dar or Brian or any of my friends that, I look up to because they're better at it than me. Like, you can't always do it like that with the kid. And I think that learning how to hone what you do in a way that makes it conducive to them also. And like the hard stuff for me is kind of what resonates with me. Like last year, Boone, 3 months ago, not last year. I think he was 4. I don't know why he did it.
Time's flying, man.
I don't know why he did it, but I shot that gobbler and he was really excited and he ran up to it. And I was like, hey, buddy, can you come take a picture with me? And he's like, no, I'm too cold. And I was like, oh, yeah, like I know you think that, but like come take a picture with me now, And he was like, I don't want to. And I was like, now I'm, upset, And I'm like, hey, buddy, it's my birthday. Like, I want you to come take a picture with me. Yeah. And he like walks over and like does that, and then my brother's showing me the pictures and I'm like, what the heck? So I like walk Boone down to this river and like they had severe flooding where we were. So the river's all blown out. And I'm like talking to him and somehow I get a stick in my hand. I'm not going to hit him with it. I'm just holding the stick, And I'm like, buddy, why are you like, why won't you just come take a picture with me? Like, this was really, like the moment wasn't special enough, and I needed a picture to culminate the fact that
Right.
my son was sitting on my lap while I called in a bird and shot it while he watched the whole thing. That should be enough. But we live in this time. I want to get that picture up on my wall and all this stuff that, like, I'm drawing a line in the sand. You're going to take a picture with me. No, I'm not. And I don't think, like, I'm not anti-discipline at all. Like, there's this whole anti-yelling, spanking. Like, I don't scream at my kids, but like, yeah, if you do something that's going to, especially like a danger thing, you run in the street, you'll get spanked every time, you know? But like, I don't think that's our time to do that. I don't think that's our time to spank the kid when we're out there doing something that it may be better for them down the line. Like, who is he really out there? Why am I taking Boone? It's really for me. It's really because I want this picture. And like, this will be misinterpreted but like, it's selfish taking your kid that's that little and doing stuff like that. Like, dude, go tell somebody that doesn't hunt, like, hey, we're going to wake up at 3:00 in the morning. We're going to sit out there. Hey, the ground's wet also, and it's 30 degrees outside. So we're going to go sit out there. Like, you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I expect my kid to be like, obviously, like the bird coming in and shooting them. That's always exciting. Everyone likes that. But like the stuff that you have to do to get to that point, that's not fun generally.
Right.
Especially for like a little kid who does not understand, like, Dad, I'm cold.
Right.
It is selfish, and not in like a malicious way, but like, I want that picture so I can send it to my friends and be like, look how cool I am. I took my kid and, we did this. And that's, that's obviously me, making light of the situation, but it, not in a malicious way, but it is kind of a selfish deal, and I'm sitting there trying to make him feel guilty because that is what I was doing. And that is malicious. It's my birthday, buddy. Take a picture with me. I don't need to be doing that. And like, I look back and I'm ashamed that I acted like that, and I need to get better. Like, man, I need to be a better man about that. But I'm holding this stick and I'm pissed off, and I snapped the stick on my leg. I don't know why I did. I just snapped it. And like, I get this smirk out of him. Like, he likes that I broke the stick. And I was like, oh, you like that I broke the stick? Wait till you see me launch this stick into the river, So I launched the stick, and he's like, can I try? And I'm like, yeah, dude, you can try. So we sat there and threw sticks and skipped rocks and did all that stuff for like 15 minutes. And it like broke my heart. He goes, Dad, I'm sorry. Like, let's go get our picture. And, sat there and took 15 pictures because I didn't like my double chin and, whatever it is. And it's like, I just felt grimy, like, oh man, like, I want you to take a picture with me. Yeah, I don't think that's asking too much. But like, I don't think it's the time to like draw a hard line in the sand and be a, authoritarian in a time where you're doing something that I want you to do.
Right.
Like, it is cold. You are wet. We did not eat breakfast. You want water. The gummy bears are in the truck.
Right.
I think that's why I didn't want the pictures. I think the gummy bears were in the truck. And I think I told him,
gummy bears.
I think he's like, but you said, I mean, so like,
But we already shot it, Dad.
yeah,
Come
he's
on,
like,
let's go.
you said after you shot the bird, we'd have gummy bears. You didn't say we had to wait until the pictures were done. Whatever it was, but it's like, okay, like,
Right.
you're a little person too. You're allowed to, have your thoughts.
got his own
At
mind,
the end of
yeah.
the day, I am in charge. I'm your dad, but like, I'm not going to punk you over. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get in trouble while you're out here freezing your little butt off in the, out there in the rain.
Right, but the whole point of bringing your kid out there is for him to enjoy it too.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So that's where
That's
you're
exactly-
realizing
yeah.
it. Like, why am I making my kid? You know what I mean?
No,
where you're
exactly.
thinking like this selfish. By the end of the day, and then at the end of it, I mean, obviously you guys got a kick-ass photo where you guys can reflect on, but and you guys still got memorable times of it. But it's to try and get them to enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
Well, and
part
how
about it.
many grown-ups have you been with in hunting situations where they'll sit there and complain and
Right.
be a Debbie Downer and all, you know what I mean? All that. And it's just
Jake's
like,
seen it.
Everybody's guilty of that.
how can we hold a kid to a higher standard than we would hold, Bob over there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's 4, man. Like, I think he's trying his darndest, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
But there's a lot of stuff. My sister this year, my brother called in. I called in a bird for my brother on opening morning. I told everyone he shot the first legal turkey on public land. first light, called the bird down, textbook, came up 9 o'clock. We were expecting him to come head on. He came up 9 o'clock, and I'm telling him, turn and shoot that bird, because if he gets above us to the top of the ridge, we're not bringing him back down. He flew literally into our laps, and it was about 35 yards that way. And I'm like, swing your gun, and he starts doing like real slow how I told him to do it. You know,
Right.
I'm like, faster, dude, kill that bird.
Yeah, he's
Shoots the
gonna go.
bird, and it was great. Yeah. He's learned a lot. He's matured a lot. My hubris is out of control now. Like I'm great, which is so silly because I'm not. I'm just averages can be below average probably, but have a good attitude most of the time.
Right.
Beg and plead with my little sister. Please come. I'll buy you Starbucks. You know,
The gummy bears are in the truck.
we stayed at Dar's cabin, you know, like very comfortable. The kids were all up there. Took my sister out, roosted a bird, set up 80 yards from the bird. And like that night I'm texting, Jimmy and my brother, like, we're going to smoke this bird. Who wants to come up here and blah, 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 blah. And my sister didn't want to be hunting. She went for me. You know, I had to beg and plead her to come. And I called in a bird, and it came in the wrong way, you know, and I should have had her set up in a better position. But I remember I told Brian, I called the bird into 10 yards. I have video of it. I posted on my Instagram. He's strutting and gobbling at 10 yards. And I told Brian, like, Brian, it was perfect. I couldn't have done any, you know, it was perfect. It was a perfect setup. She just couldn't get it. And he's like, why don't you just like get off your high horse? If it was that perfect,
It would have been done.
you would have been walking out with
Yeah.
a bird. And he's like, it sounds like you did 99% of things perfect, and that's awesome, and I'm happy for you. But like, it was good to hear, you know, like, yeah, dude,
Kinda that
who do you
gut,
think you
yeah.
are?
Yeah.
You know,
Those are the kind of friends I like, man.
Yeah.
That's the kind of that's
gut check,
how you know
man,
you've
yeah.
got
Yeah.
a good friend there, because they'll
Yeah.
every once in a while like, dude, calm down,
yeah,
boy. Like,
no, yeah, seriously, like you've been,
Yeah.
you know, Brian said you've been turkey hunting for 20 years. You took a first timer out, and her body wasn't in the right position to get behind the gun to shoot
Yeah.
the bird. Whose fault is that? You know, and not to say, he wasn't being malicious about
Sure.
it. He just said, hey, sounds like you didn't explain it well enough. Like, you know, and Brian told me, don't have a kid move, you know, aim the gun at the decoys, and the birds need to walk to the decoys. And I thought, oh, you're probably wrong, because I know, so, you know, and it's like, oh, wait, Brian, you've been doing this with your kid. You know what I mean? Like that's another one of those guys that, you know, probably a much better resource for that kind of stuff would be a guy like Brian or Dar or Russ. And I'm just kind of at the beginning of this. So I in no way feel like I'm any authority on any of this stuff, but it's just something that I'm really passionate about doing. And to see that passion in the kids is like, you know, brings a tear to your eye. Like, you know, Annie, probably right. She's screaming. I don't know if you heard her a few minutes ago. Quail, shoot him. I'm like, we can't shoot quail right now. Don't shoot quail. Shoot the other birds, but not the quail.
she's ready to go.
She is ready to go.
So tell us a little bit before we wrap up. Tell us a little bit about this bear here on the wall.
You know, depending on who you ask,
Boone probably shot it.
Boone probably shot it. Yeah, that bear. I went bear hunting with my friend Scott, and I think it was, what is it? What year does it say on that?
2017.
2017. I glassed that bear up. I was with my friend Scott. He told me to hop in his truck and drive closer. It was a few miles away when I glassed it. I ripped his side view mirror off of his brand new Cummins. And
Nice.
I did not have the money to
pay him
repair
back,
that.
yeah.
So like my thoughts immediately went to like, what's Scott going to have me do to work this off? And I'm like, Scotty, I'm so sorry. And he's like, shut up about the mirror. Go to the, you know, so
Go get the dang bear.
I like
dude.
hike over to the bear, and he beds down, and it took me like 3 hours. It was gnarly, man. And I radioed to Scott, and I was like, I'm going to sit here. And he's like, no, you're not, you know, hike back to me. I was like, dude, I'm not going back. Like, I'm sitting here. Like, I'm not, if we're going to come back here, I'm not hiking back to you. And he's like, yes, you are. And I listened to him because I just ripped his mirror off. And, you know, hiked back, and we ended up going back in there a couple hours later. The bear hadn't moved. I mean, it's truly just lucky that it was a big bear. I mean, I just saw a bear, and bear season was open, and I had a bear tag,
Right.
and ended up being a pretty big bear. But I mean, I'm not a bear hunter by any means. It was just I like to hunt, but I don't. Everyone's like, oh yeah, that's a boar. Oh really? I don't know. I couldn't have told you until I walked up to it and saw that it had male parts.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Didn't know if it was big or anything. It was just a bear. But I don't know. Like the guys that are really out there pounding for bears, like totally respect that. I've hunted a lot of animals, and bar none, getting that bear out of that canyon with me alive was like, that was the only animal I've ever hunted where it's like, oh man, like if we slipped right now,
We're done.
we would die.
Yeah.
I came home, Shannon might have been pregnant. Shannon might have been like, we might have just found out that she was pregnant with Boone. And I woke her up. I got home at 4 a.m. And I brought in a pair of tweezers, and I was like, you need to remove the cactus out of my butt. And because, it's just like, we just kept falling.
Yeah.
We called Daniel Willett, and Daniel showed up to help us not die. We had pretty much like got through all the hard stuff. We were like in the flats, and we had like
Then
3
he
miles
comes
in
in.
the flats to walk, and Daniel shows up. And me and Scott both just fell on the ground and started throwing up. We had no more water. It was terrible. Daniel showed up with a gas station pickle for both of us. And he brought a Subway sandwich, and then he brought like a 12-pack of Coors Light.
A pickle, huh?
Yeah,
A pickle and beer.
The pickle was needed. We needed to replenish our
That sodium and all
electrolytes.
that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say probably something in the vinegar and the pickle juice and stuff. And they say drink pickle juice after a hangover or whatever.
Yeah, so when I was in high school, they would always make everybody drink pickle juice before games and at halftime. It was like a thing. And I went to a small high school. I moved to California my sophomore year of high school. So I played at a little small school there. We had 33 guys on our team my senior year. By the time I was a senior, I was one of like the guys, So I thought I was above all the rules. And our athletic trainer was like, okay, hey, drink this pickle juice. We had a new training crew come, and I was like, hey guys, I cannot drink anything other than water because I will throw up. Because I would get so worked up, like emotionally, I think, just because I played both ways. And
Right.
small school, it's like if we didn't have me, we don't have another person to do what I do. And I would get so worked up that if I had any like sugar or anything other than water, I would just puke. And it was a state semifinal game. And they're like, drink your pickle juice. And I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, ask Coach Cortez, I'm not doing it. Like, you are not going on the field unless you drink the pickle juice. And I was like, I'm not drinking the pickle juice. And they like the guy stood in front of me, and I was like, first of all, I could throw you through this wall, and I was like, fine, you want me to drink the pickle juice? And I like shot it like it was, Jack Daniels at a bar, puked all over right there, like on command, just blah. There, I drank it, but yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but
No, it was like that's the thing.
I'll start carrying a little flask of pickle juice with us.
It'll do it.
it.
It'll get you out of some.
Some gnarly situations.
okay.
Well, dude, I appreciate you giving us
Yeah.
your time, man. Any other closing thoughts? Any other stories that you want to throw in there?
Oh, my stories aren't very good, but
As he looks around in the room,
I was just saying, there's a lot of stories in this
like a
room here.
Nice, huge coos deer over here.
that's actually my uncle killed that buck. That's like a 130-inch coos deer. That's the only animal in this office that's not mine. He needed a place to store it, and he was like,
Well, the other coos deer to the left over here ain't no slouch either, bud.
"Yeah, no, I killed that deer with Daniel."
Yeah.
With Daniel in, I think it was 2018.
Okay.
Daniel had just shot the horn off of a 108-inch deer. It's like the craziest thing you've ever seen, ever.
Wow.
Daniel, both of us, the gun was off, and I'm like watching this buck in the spotting scope, and we had been getting our butt kicked. So I took the spotter off, and I was like, I'm not going to get it on video because I don't want to have a bad shot and then lose this deer. So I put my 15s back on, and Daniel shoots and the deer hits the ground. And I'm like, you just missed that deer. Like, I don't know what just happened. And he's like, Jay Bird, do you see him laying on the ground? And I was like, yeah, Daniel, I'm freaking watching, but I'm telling you that you missed the deer. So you need to shoot him again.
Yeah.
And he's like, Daniel. And, Daniel's way better at hunting than I am. But I'm like, Daniel, you need to listen to me, man. You missed the deer. So he shot him again. And then we get up there and I got to the deer first. And I was like, I found him. And he's like, is he big, Jay Bird? And I was like, you probably should just come over here. You should probably see this for yourself. And right off the eye, maybe it was right off the G2, just shattered. I have a video of him. We found the horn, and I think he had it put back together, but it was just unbelievable. And if he wouldn't have shot that deer, I don't think it was dead. I think it was stone cold stunned.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was dead. And it was just unbelievable. And I actually shot that buck that evening, right in the same spot.
Jeez.
Nice stats there, bud.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that was. I love Daniel.
He's fun, man. Even just hanging around the shop with him and doing stuff with him is blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a good energy.
I would say the one thing, today with hunting with kids is, I think hunting in general too is who do you surround yourself with? And I think that you find that group. For me, me and Jimmy have gotten a lot closer because our kids are similar in age, and we'll go dove hunting together, and watching Boone and Jimmy's sons become great friends. And Jimmy will text me the boys are out there in the backyard and they're playing dove hunting with Jay and Boone. And it's that kind of stuff. Now your kids want to go because it's not just lame dad. It's oh, my friends are going to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like that is a really cool thing, to be able to do, whether it's antelope hunting or turkey hunting or going to the dairy and shooting pigeons out of the sky or whatever it is. Surrounding yourself with people that, and even, people that don't have kids, Boone, you want to talk about who loves Daniel Willett more than anybody in this world. It's Boone, adores Daniel. Mm-hmm. And, being able to have people like that around, or even with my brother Christian, drew that youth deer tag last year, and so many people were willing to come and hang out and hunt. And that made Christian's life, man, you got all these guys that are going to come out here and be here with me. And, that's just cool, man. That's what I miss about, football was my thing for the longest time. And it's I don't necessarily miss waking up at 4:00 in the morning to go to a football workout, but I do miss oh man, hey, it's 3rd down and 1 and coach just called the play call and the running back's going to run behind you. And you look at the running back and you're both yeah, man,
you got this.
It's that camaraderie that, cause hunting can be as private or public as you want it, and it just, and there's times for both of those things too. You can't go have every hunt be some big public party, but you every now and then, gosh, a youth hunt, you want to go put a squad together and have a bunch of people there and have fun and go have a killer camp and make food and gain 12 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah, dude.
It's tough to beat that. It's also tough to beat you and one other person going out.
Yeah.
It's just, it can be whatever you want it to be. And I think it's a really versatile sport or lifestyle or whatever, whatever you want to call it is what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. We've had a little bit of both. We've had just Jake and myself, and then we've had, up to 4 people in our camp, I guess, or a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and all of them are just as fun. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. I drew that Sandhill Crane tag, and I'm going to book with my friend Nash, who...
Have you ever done that before?
No.
You got for this year?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so my kids, I already told them, I didn't know if it was me or my wife, and I kind of wanted it to be my wife. Well, at least I said that out loud. I was oh, babe, I hope it's you.
And then you're yeah.
Yeah. I was oh, it's me. Yeah, baby. Sorry, babe. But
hopefully she's not home yet.
Yeah, I know. But Annie is just we're going to go shoot a Sandhill Crane. And it's I can't wait to, have Annie and Boone and not Barrett. I love Barrett. He's out of all my kids, he's definitely the cutest little baby. Mm-hmm. But it's yeah, you're too little, man. But again, like you watch some of these guys, like they take they're way better than I am at this stuff. And like, I know I could take that kid. I'm not going to, but you know, like it can be done. People are doing it.
Sure.
You at least take them to camp or something, or whatever, and do something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it seems like everybody's got their own individual approach, right? I mean, yeah, sure. You see people out there, like I think I've seen a mom with an infant on her back shooting something, but then there's other people that it seems like you kind of have your like about 3 years old as your barrier to entry. And then like there's guys like me that like, shoot, I've barely taken out my like 10-year-old when I think she was 10 at the time when we took her out there, and I was like, well, I guess we'll try this and see. And I started mine off with just like doing trail cameras. I was like, let's go set some trail cameras. Let me see how far I can. Huh? Yeah, I know, right? Let's go see how far I can. Well, this is when they were legal.
1-800-GAME.
This was a few years ago, but just like let's see how far I can push them on like just a hike, and we did 4 miles. They did pretty good.
Kids are tough, man.
Yeah,
that's the one thing. Like, so Annie, I don't know. People would say it's probably insensitive, but I would say Annie's a Comanche. Yeah, she's a tough little kid.
Little warrior, yeah.
Boone is the brains. And I'm not saying he's not tough.
Sure.
But I'm also saying if him and Annie went at it, I know who would win. And it would be the little girl. But like even Boone, like antelope hunting in New Mexico last year, Boone will get to a point, Daddy, can you carry me? And I've seen him sucker people into picking him up and carrying him. I'm like, don't pick him up. Like,
he's playing with you, man. Yeah.
Don't pick him up. Like, make him walk. And we were walking back antelope hunting, and Daddy, I'm like, dude, I have a full antelope in my pack right now. I'm not carrying you, but I can get on your shoulders. I'm like, no, you can't, dude. I have a gun on my, like just walk. And like, we finally made it back. It was like 1 mile, you know. Yeah. But I was like, look, buddy, you did it. You can be proud of yourself. And I feel it's just like those little things, like, and I feel like that's really important with boys. Is like
encouragement, man.
Yeah. Like I don't know how you can be a bum dad and not want to be around your kids. And like I have some friends that I really look up to as dads. Like I think they're great dads. And like we've all talked about, like, I don't know how you could not want to be involved. And like I'm so lucky with my job, the flexibility to like I spend a lot of time with my kids. A lot of time with my kids, and it's like it's the best thing ever. I get mad sometimes, and at times I do things or say things that I'm not proud of for sure. And like I don't ever apologize in my whole life, but like I apologize to my kids. Like I've never said I'm sorry to anybody else other than my children, But it's like I feel like that's really important for little boys to know, like your dad is proud of you, whether you're good or not. Like I am proud of you, and I just feel like we have generational issues with stuff like that because a lot of kids, like a lot of boys, don't know that they're good enough, or they don't know, and it's sad, like you look at some people and it's like, gosh, if your circumstances were a little bit different, if you knew that you were fine, like there's nothing wrong with you, you're a great little boy, a great kid, whatever. I feel like it's really important, with boys, like I'm proud of you, even if you're in trouble, even if you did something and I just gave you a spanking or, got upset, like I need you to know that I really am proud of you. And I don't think kids hear that enough.
No, I think you're right. I remember I've seen a lot of that fade too, like you were kind of talking about. I remember growing up, a lot of my church was heavily involved in like father-son camps that we would go out on. Yeah. And even then, like there would be kids that like didn't have, like I remember one kid, I think he was Japanese, his name was Hito. I think he didn't have a dad in his life. And so then we would have like adopted dads, but like we would go out and we'd like teach him to fish, like do all these different things. Like it was very much like a father-son, and it was like, suck it up. Like there wasn't, it was very basic camping stuff. Like here's your 5-gallon bucket bathroom for the week. And like, just stuff like that. And like, I don't see that happening anymore, man. And that's why I think I drew so much to hunting, was because I know I wanted to like test myself. I like that grind. I like figuring out what I'm capable of, but at the same time too, like I want my kids to kind of get in that as well and like see what they can do. So like I took my youngest Aspen, I took her on that hike up in the one mountains that I hunt there. But I was shocked, man. She made it all the way to the top and she was like, let's go. And I was like, we just did 2 miles and that was like some hardcore elevation gain. I was like, good grief.
And she did it, yeah.
She was fine, totally
Yeah.
fine. All she cared about at the top was, can we have Skittles now?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They can, I mean, it's all in their heads, and Boone will hike that trail with me. Not now. I would not take him out when it's 105
When it's
degrees,
hot, yeah, sure.
but,
Yeah.
He'll make it to the top. And our thing, I touch the lock is at the top of the gate is my thing. And Boone will get up there and like smack it. Did it. And it's like, yeah, buddy, you did.
Yeah, dude.
Like, let's go. He's hiked, 2.5, 3 miles with me before. And it's just like, just talking to your kids while they're, the stuff that like, hey, Dad, do coyotes have hands? And you're like, oh, no. Why do they not have hands? Well, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, they got paws. Yeah.
yeah, that's just, well, can they eat with their hands? And like just the stuff. You're like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What a cool thought,
Yep.
I want to be a dinosaur. Like, that's cool.
Yep. Yeah, the conversation that flows out, and then even like my favorite thing is like the lack of filter that kids have.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff cracks me up so bad. Just the things that come out of their mouths here, like,
Yeah.
all right, that hurt a little bit, but okay.
Yeah. I just booked, last month I booked my Osceola hunt, which will be so I don't have a grand slam because I have not killed the Osceola.
Okay.
But I do have 4 of the 5 subspecies because I've killed my Gould. So when I kill, if I kill the Osceola, that'll be my grand and my Royal Slam. And I called around to a few outfitters and I just said, hey, like I'll pay now. Like I want good dates. If I'm going to go, I'll wait till next year if you don't have any good dates, but I'm going to bring my kid. And like, I don't want to pay a non-hunter fee because a lot of places will let you do it. And like, I could go hunt public land in Florida, but for me, like the time is more so like I'd rather know that I was going to go somewhere where there's birds that are not really messed with. And I'd rather just go, it's so, the BHA will come send me letters now saying I'm a poser, but I'd rather just go. I don't really have a burning desire to go hunt Osceolas. I'd like to have my Grand Slam and the Royal Slam done.
Sure.
But like if it interfered with me going to California or, something else, I just would never do it. But
Yeah.
I thought it'd be really cool to have Boone there. And called one guy and he's like, can he hunt? And I was like, no, he's 4, dude. I mean, like he sat on my lap while 10 birds were killed, and
Earlier,
he's quiet.
I heard the other story, man.
Yeah.
He was saying he killed that turkey.
No,
bro.
he's the man. But I'm like, I just, he'll sleep in the bed with me. He will eat Pop-Tarts that I bring and he'll sit on my lap. And the guy was like, okay. I was like, all right, I'll book right now. Like, let's go. I'm excited to do it. But like, it's almost like I don't think I would do that without Boone. I mean, I'm sure you could twist my arm. I'm not going to sit here and try and sound all, sanctimonious about it, but I just don't really, I just think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't really care about a slam. I don't know if you even send in paperwork about it. Like I wouldn't do it, but I just feel like, oh man, you know what? That'd be really cool to just be like, I had that done and I had it done, with Boone, whether
With
he's
your kid,
asleep or awake or whatever, like he was there,
Yeah. Yep.
But I heard those are ornery birds and don't like to make a lot of noise and all that. So I'm not necessarily looking forward to it.
At the very least, it'll be a darn good memory.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe your kid will call it in.
Well, and that's what I told him. I said, Boone, when we go to Florida, you are not bringing your calls. He's like, why? I'm really good. And I'm like, I love the confidence, but we're not bringing our calls. But now his big thing is he knows, because we're big Georgia fans. My dad played at Georgia back in the day, and he knows that the Florida are the Gators.
Oh, yeah.
So he's saying, Dad, are we going to get eaten by a gator? And I'm like, buddy, I don't think we're going to probably be where alligators are. And he's like, they are in Florida. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. What are you going to do if we see one? I'm like, I don't know. Will you shoot it? If it's allowed, sure. Like, if you want me to, I'll, whatever.
Make you some boots.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. Well, dude,
That's cool, man.
I appreciate you just sharing your stories with us. Thank you for sharing your chili.
Oh yeah,
It's so good.
yeah.
That chili was bomb. Thank you for sharing some buffalo trace.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you opening up to us about just getting kids in the outdoors more, kind of telling us like your approach and your thoughts on it, because I know that like when I see somebody that I feel does extremely well at something, I just like to pick their brain and extract what I can, because I almost every single time I walk away with at least one, if not multiple things from that I feel like I can apply to my own life. And so I just figured, like, heck, if I'm wondering these things, or if I'm wanting to learn more about this and grow from it, I'm sure there's other people out there too that want to do the same thing. Yeah. So I'm a firm believer of like iron sharpens iron. And you're talking about like, you know, boys, I think the same thing is still true and applies to even us men as we're older. Like, I think we can all help each other grow and experience and become better.
Totally.
In any aspect of life, whether it's like business and like hustle or hunting or, you know, fatherhood or stuff like that. So
you need that inner circle of like-minded men that, you know,
100%, man.
Iron doesn't sharpen Twinkies is what my high school football coach used to always say.
I like it.
Coach Howe, he'd say, iron doesn't sharpen Twinkies. But it's true. I mean, you just need, you know, that circle of guys that, you know, especially with kids, you need people around that you trust with your kids. And like you can have really great friends that you don't trust with your kids. And then you can have friends that are, you know, not as close with you, but like,
but you know, they're good role models.
You know, me and Jimmy take our kids all the time. And I know if Jimmy hollered at Boone and yelled his name really loud, I wouldn't be like, what are you yelling at my kid? I'd be like, oh, well, you
probably
something important is going on. And, you know, like, raise your voice if my kid does something that's going to get himself hurt. Sure. I totally trust you. And I feel like that's where you have to find that tribe of guys that, you know, you trust with your, I mean, it's the only thing you have in this world is your kids. You know what I mean? Like nothing else matters. Like that's your most precious gem in the world is your children. And it's like finding people that you trust with your kids. It's like, I don't want to sit here and say it's super hard, but it's not everybody, you know?
Yep. 100%. That's a big responsibility, man. That's the next generation that you're looking after there.
Yeah.
So
somebody's 4-year-old right now will be the president one day.
Right.
We just don't know who it is.
Oh, man. Well, thank you again, brother. I appreciate you
Thanks
coming
for having
on.
me.
Thanks for letting us run into your evening a little bit here.
Heck.
Yeah.
I don't know if the missus has gotten home yet or not.
I'm sure she's home. Hopefully the kids are asleep.
Sounds like you're on the right track raising your kids, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's an honor that you guys thought of me. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I applaud you for everything that you've done. And like I said, I just wanted to try and learn a little bit from what you've done. So
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, thanks again. Guys, thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Bowhunting AZ podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast and smash those 5 stars on iTunes or Spotify and leave a little review at the bottom. It'll really help us out. For our short films, go subscribe over on YouTube. Just search Bowhunting AZ. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Bowhunting AZ. Good luck to everyone this season. Thank you again for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode.